The 7.25 double barrel shotgun, finally available to everyone via missions as opposed to needing to farm weapon crates in operations. Oh boy, have I been having a lot of fun with this freaking thing, which you can probably tell by the fact that I already have the skin unlocked for it. That requires, I think it's like 150 kills or something, but I digress. This thing is such a blast to use and it looks really cool on top of that with the breakaway and the reload and all that. Just so much fun to use. So I wanted to share my build for the 7.25 double barrel shotgun. Now it won't be a very long video because there's not a whole lot of attachments you can put on this thing, but this thing is just so much fun to use. Anyways, starting off the blank slate here for the barrel, you have two options. Now, considering that this isn't a secondary weapon, if it was, I would very easily recommend like the sawed-off here. But considering it's not, just go with the 7.25 double barrel shotgun Falcon long barrel. That is a mouthful to say because it gives you an extra 1 meter in range at which you're doing maximum damage, which is very good for shotguns considering how poor the range is for the most part. So install that, and then we're going to calibrate this both with negative 50 grams and negative 10 millimeters. You don't really need muzzle velocity, you don't really need fire stability. Getting that ADS speed and ADS movement speed higher is good, albeit you probably won't be ADSing all that much. For the muzzle, you only have a single muzzle here, so the 7.25 double barrel shotgun Cowboy Suppressor, again, just super long names, but yeah, putting this on here gonna give you a little bit of extra control. Is it really needed? No, but when you're getting good flanks off, it can prevent people from hearing you or spotting you in the minimap. So go ahead and install that. For the foregrip, I chose to go with the competition hand stop, so this simply gives you more accuracy and more handling because again, control, stability, don't really need those two stats. So this one felt like it fit the bill for this weapon very nicely. So install that, and then we're going to calibrate this with negative 20 millimeters and negative 20 grams to get, again, more ADS speed and more ADS movement speed for the few times that you might actually be ADSing this weapon. For the stock, so you have two options here. Again, like this one, it just doesn't make sense to have extra control and extra stability. Maybe if they end up implementing shotgun slugs, it might be worth looking into these stocks, but I feel like this one is just a moot point for the shotgun, or at least double barrel in my opinion. So just slap on this one, the Shotgun Governor short stock, install that, and then we're going to calibrate this with plus 50 grams to get extra control. The other stat is completely useless, and then we're going to reduce the thickness by 50 millimeters to get more hipfire aim speed, which is very nice. For all of these three patches here, I simply put on the Hornet handguard panel just to give me more accuracy because again, I was pretty much only hip firing the 7.25 double barrel just because ADSing, you're in such close quarters, it doesn't really make any sense. And I chose to completely leave out these two rail attachments here. I didn't put any lasers on it because lasers for the most part do give out your position, and that's not really how I wanted to play with the 7.25 because you really need to close the gap on your enemies and ideally flank them if you can. Now in the footage you're going to see on screen, I actually had a red dot on here, but I decided to remove it for the build because I ADS'd a total of exactly 0 times while using this weapon, so it felt kind of like a moot point to have the optic on there, only reducing the handling of the weapon slightly. So it's just, I didn't see a point of having an RDS on here. So in order to unlock the 7.25, you'll either need to get a total of 30,000 score in Warfare plus 15 kills with the shotgun or play a match of AD. So you need to do 4 out of the 5 challenges to be able to unlock the 7.25. And in order to use this specific build, you pretty much need to level it to max at level 41, with the shotgun only having 43 levels total. Now 7.25 does slightly less damage per pellet than the pump action M870, so you're doing 30 damage per pellet for the M870, you're doing 25 for the 7.25, and you'll have 1 less meter in range with this specific setup. As for the M870, it has 10 meters in range, and then both semi-automatic shotguns have 4 meters in range, which is absolutely abysmal. But the 7.25, it feels so satisfying to use when you're getting 2 kills back to back with both shells in the barrel, and then hopefully getting somewhere safe to be able to reload. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the reload is kind of slow, and you might see that when you finish your reload and you put the barrel back, if you do something else, you might reload it again, but that doesn't stop you from firing. It's really just a visual bug that with the animation that I hope they will fix in the near future. But really make sure you have a reliable sidearm when using the 7.25 because at best you're going to get 2 kills with it. At worst, maybe 1, and then if there's more than 2 to enemies, you're going to need something else. You won't have time to reload this thing unless you are an absolute dance master with your movement in Delta Force. So don't do like me and have a 6-shooter. Maybe have something like the G18 or the G17 that really packs a punch and can save you in those situations where you just don't have time to reload, but you still have enemies to dispatch. Now, 725 definitely feels like it is more of a statement than anything else. Using this weapon, it means you are not afraid of going into the pack of enemies and downing a few people. But overall, it's just like, it's so fun to use. I can't tell you how much fun I was having with this freaking thing. You can still get kills at pretty decent ranges when people are slightly low on health. And it shoots so freaking fast in between shots. So the fire rate on this thing is 375 as opposed to the M1014, which is the semi-auto at 261 RPM. And then the Sega 12K has 300 RPM. So those two shots are coming out pretty quickly and you're doing a ton of damage. So you can even kill 2 enemies if you snap from one to the other fast enough that are both engaging you at the same time, and stuff like that just makes this weapon a ton of fun to use. Now currently, if you want to try out the 725, there is a shotgun only mode. I played it only once and I was using like the M1014 or something, or maybe even the pump action. All of the kills I got with the 725, I was simply playing King of the Hill, and I was playing as Stinger, allowing you again to close the gap because unfortunately, shotguns and Delta Force only do damage at very minimal ranges, so having that smoke wall and 2 smokes on top of that really allows you to close the gap in on your enemies, and you're really going to have to make good use of cover in between you and the enemy to be able to close that gap and get close enough to be able to one-shot them. And obviously, playing as Stinger does give you more survivability due to the Surret pistol, and I always combo it with the med pack so I can start healing quicker and then hopefully re-engage my enemies as soon as I'm done reloading my 725. Now, as I said, the reload could be slightly faster because, again, elephant in the room only has 2 shotgun shells in this, so the reload you're going to be doing it quite often, and having it be so slow feels kind of bad. But then again, if it was a little bit faster, it might be a little bit overpowered, but I don't think it would. So I think it would greatly benefit from a slightly faster reload, just allowing you to re-engage your enemies quicker. But yeah, this thing is just a blast to play with. It might be a little bit frustrating at first, but once you start getting into the groove of, you know, using your movement, using cover, and using smokes to close the distance on your targets, it's just so much fun to use. And then if you get a good flank off and are behind a ton of enemies, you can get some pretty nasty shots and nasty clips with the 725, granted, if you do get that reload off before people start turning around and noticing that their teammates are dying. I didn't actually use this weapon with Nox yet, but I think he would be a pretty good fit for this if you can get some good flanks, due to the fact that obviously he has Silent Assault, which is his ultimate, and also the flashbang really making it so your enemies will be hopefully blinded and then you can just blast them in the face with the 725. But I promise you, if you get through that initial grind of just not really knowing how to approach fights with the 725, eventually you'll be having a lot of fun. And I was just laughing so much while using this weapon. Again, just so satisfying to use, such an iconic weapon with the breakaway, reload, and all that stuff. It just looks and feels cool. But that'll be it for today's video. The share code for the weapon will be in the description down below, as well as in the top pinned comment. I'll leave you with a few highlight clips of me using this specific build. In any case, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.
Pay attention to our objective.